During this Singapore FinTech Festival 2019, there are many good things that happened. As far as MAS is concerned, they claimed that they got around 60,000 plus visitors plus around 900 plus exhibitors. We are not here challenging whether this 60,000 number is correct or 900 plus exhibitions are correct. In this whole exhibitions, many people or many exhibitors from payment side, and actually I got two exhibitors. I cannot tell the name because that's not good. I got two exhibitors, those who are API platforms. API stands for Application Programming Interface. So basically I wrote a code or a software, and this software is having 10 parts. Simple. And I think that for the sake of humanity or for the sake of charity, or maybe you can say for the sake of the well-being of the others, or maybe monetary also, royalty also. Generally the royalty factor is always the last. I keep it open source so that anyone come and take it. Example, Android and OS X. So I have no authority to take even a single line of code of OS X because it is completely owned by Apple. While when it comes to Android, it is open source. So I created a 10 line code, and out of this 10 parts in a software, A, B, C, D and all, 2 parts I keep it open source so that people can come and copy and they can do the further modification. So the actual intent is that if you are doing some work actually, so you need not to start from the scratch. So some part is done. Example, in this world thousands and thousands of people are writing codes every day. In fact, in one of the magazines which I was reading online, I got to know that after every 5 minutes around 2 APIs come on platforms. So I was computing that 1 hour means 60 minutes. After every 5 minutes means 12 times. If after every 5 minutes 2 APIs come, it means approximately 24. 24 into 1 hour is, 1 day is basically 24 hours. So 24 into 24. And then you multiplies into with 365. So 24 into 24 into 365. This much is the total amount of APIs that come in the public domain on a yearly note. I don't know whether this 2 which he said is right or wrong. I don't know about the authenticity. But I was thinking one thing, that this APIfication, I term this as APIfication, is technically not the right thing. I'm not against innovation. Most of the people, those who know me, know very well that I'm always in the favor of innovation and new technology. But having said that, this technology should not end as a dead end. So example, what happened? That we filed for digital banking license in Singapore, and we are in touch with MAS, and we are launching our neo banking platform on 1st April 2021 in London. So there is a humongous amount of pressure that is coming on us from the banks and our close friends that I should go ahead and purchase few API. In fact, because nowadays I'm in India, I don't return to Singapore until this virus issue will get resolved completely. And unfortunately 100 plus deaths happen till now, and I really doubt, as far as Bloomberg is concerned, that they said that it take at least 6 months to get the virus resolved. The medication will come in the public domain and the people will get vaccinated, so it takes another 6 months. So I don't know when I return to Singapore. But having said that, we have an API platform in Singapore which is known as APIX. Rather, terming this as a platform is wrong. It is an exchange. It is an API exchange. APIX. You can check on the Google also. It's very much approachable. But there is a big conflict which I see. Since we launching a digital banking platform, I went through every day. I always go through 2 or 3 digital bank websites. Like today, I went to the website of N26, because we got an information that N26 got around 250,000 customer, which is 250,000 customer, and it's a German based non-bank. I don't know how they can themselves treat as a bank. I don't know, but anyways. So what really happened? In English, there is a thing called juxtaposition testing. What is juxtaposition testing means that I tell you live. Juxtapositioning texting means that if you wanted to study the difference, so you do one thing, you take, assuming this is a magazine, you take one magazine here and you make one magazine here, you read a page here and you read a page here, you will get the difference between the two. This is known as the juxtapositioning testing. Majority of the people in the finance are known for juxtapositioning testing because they read multiple magazines at the same point of time and pin out the difference. The same thing I did. What I did, I opened 3 banks website at the same point of time in a small size, and I was comparing each bank website, and without quoting the name of these 3 banks I compared, I got to know that this APIfication is actually leading to a biggest disaster in the space of the virtual banking. Because just take a simplistic example. Today, if you look that who all are countries, those who issued the digital banking licenses. Hong Kong till now issued around 12 digital banking licenses, which is 8 plus 4. Out of these 8, I think as far as my knowledge is concerned, around 3 or 4 are in the beta testing and no information about the 4. And the balance 4, I don't have any information because it is not in the public domain. There are 3 digital banks which are working in South Korea. There are around 2 or 3 digital banks which are working in UK and around 2 digital banks working in US. Apart from that, there is 1 or 2 digital banks working in the other parts of the globe. So what I did the same juxtaposition testing. I opened 3 banks websites without quoting the name that I keeping in the, I would say, not in the public domain. What I checked, I got to know that while majority of the digital banks of the globe are currently focusing only on 3 things without quoting the name. One is the debit card, one is the credit card, multi-currency account, and unfortunately one whose name came today in the public domain, should not tell. He is focusing one level higher, bill payments. That always pushes me that is debit card, credit card, multi-currency account and the bill payments are the only thing left we have in the globe as far as the banking is concerned. Had it been, then why Goldman and JP Morgan Chase, why they are offering almost everything in this globe. But anyways, this is mindset. I got to know what is happening on the name of the APIfication. There are multiple issues I have at least with the APIfication, and I really not bothered what people think about that. Because I always give my independent opinion. As a company, as a platform, we are nowhere connected with any company, no endorsements. I got to know that there are multiple application programming interfaces we have available right now, whereby you can integrate your debit card architecture with a recognized debit card architecture. I hope you are getting the name, what I wanted to say. Henceforth, if today I will hire 2 computer experts, basically the coding experts, API experts, and ask them to write a code, and they take around 40 to 50 days to write a code about a debit card and then integrate this debit card with our well-known exchange of debit card. I hope you're getting the name. This will consume around 50 to 60 days, and God forbid if any technical mistake happen, then it take another 10 to 20 days of debugging. So what I do, I will buy a API, and buying this API will resolve a lot of problem for me. But I would like to ask one simple question here, which I noticed, because turning out to be a digital bank, I am checking almost everybody's website, and that I am telling you in the public domain, because checking somebody's website is never be a infringement right, because as a digital bank, we will not come up with debit card, credit card and multi-currency account. This is not our focus of digital bank. The biggest problem in APIfication is that the original talent is getting lost. Example, 1869 when Goldman launched their bank, they started with Goldman anyway started with a very modest beginning. When Marcus Goldman started with a very modest beginning, there was no API. So everything he made from the scratch. End result, today they have ICG, They have their own prop desk, they have FICC desk, they have investment banking, they have their prop setups, Reuters, Bloomberg, Edge, P2P and whatnot. Goldman. The same is the case with JP Morgan and top banks. The biggest issue with the API is that multiple people rely on a common knowledge. So I give an example. For a minute, I assume I go with the vision of these people, those who think that debit card and the credit card are the only option I have for a minute. Then what happened? He made some code. And what I felt, while reviewing these websites is that, to be honest, is that the architectural design they are giving is more or less same. Around 5 to 10% here and there. Architectural design is more or less same. Then this creates a big issue in future. And why future? Very soon. Because just imagine in 2008, when the whole world was facing the financial crisis, only two banks were resilient. One Goldman and one JP Morgan Chase. Apart from that, HSBC, UBS, Deutsche, Barclays, unfortunately majority of the insurance company, including American Insurance Group and all, they were almost collapsed. If government had not went at that point of time and helped them, they were almost collapsed at that point of time. What made these two firms, Goldman and JP Morgan Chase, resilient in these 2008 testing times when the world saw Lehman, Bear Stearns and big names collapsed at that point of time, is their architectural design. The architectural design of, which is shortly known as AD, the architectural design of Goldman is completely indifferent than JP Morgan. So should be JP Morgan. JP Morgan design is completely indifferent from Goldman. Because Goldman theory is different, JP Morgan theory is different, and we will not discuss how the architectural design is done. That I hope you are aware about that. But the resilience in this architectural design makes sure that both big banks, Goldman and JP Morgan, stayed during 2008, and many insurance companies and small banks collapsed. 2020 start with a negativity, and that negativity is the Chinese virus. According to the statistics or whatever limited information, I am not a doctor, neither I am a scientist. But whatever information is coming, it will take another 6 months. It means that the banking sector will get a setback of another 6 months. Boss, I'm telling you, we are not far from recession. And in this recession, the digital banks, those who are heavily exposed to the APIfication, those who are buying a commonly coded API, they are going to be failed very, very drastically. Venture capitalists got no success till now, whether it is a food delivery system, whether it is a Paytm, Zomato, Swiggy, Ola, Uber, you name, WeWork or any company. This APIfication would make things more worse. According to me, sharing of API is not wrong. You did something and you are sharing your work so that others can take it, so that there is no need to reinvent the wheel. Nothing wrong in that. But having said that, making a mindset that all the digital banks of the globe, those who are under designing or those who are already designed, they are taking the API and just 5-10% here there, they are making this as their own prop products. This is not good for the banking system of the globe. But unfortunately, I have not seen a single regulator across the globe, who came in the public domain and raised that voice. Rather, without quoting the name of any regulator, I have seen even best regulators sitting in Southeast Asia, those who are prompting it. Rather, they are pushing it further that we should go for more APIfication. Please be note that I once again reiterate that if digital banks, and another important thing what is happening nowadays is just like Standard Chartered Bank is doing already entered into partnership with Bahrain FinTech Bay, and Credit Agricole did almost a similar kind of partnership. UBS is doing multiple partnership. Goldman, I think, doing JP Morgan Chase, HSBC, and almost everybody doing that. Because these big banks know very well that they cannot have an in-house capacity. That thing they very well know. So what they are doing a partnership with the startups. I don't know how the IP would be turned up, intellectual property, that is between them and the startup. I have nothing to do. But at the end of the day, the basic problem is that most of the work these startups actually did belongs to the API which is already being written. Example. In Singapore FinTech Festival, I don't have a percentage with me that even if I go with the MS number that around 900% people, 900% exhibitors were there, but majority of the exhibitors were from payment side. That is sure. A hell lot of action has been happened as far as the payment is concerned. A hell lot of action has been happened as far as the payment is concerned. Like I showed you one data, because the data will help you to resolve this issue. Because I believe in data. So I got the data. That data means that, the fastest growing API categories, data is having around 956 APIs, financial 949, analytics around 611, messaging like WhatsApp and all 5553, payment 519, cloud around 512, e-commerce around 464, marketing 403, mobile 389, tools 386. Did you got the point? Today, the unfortunate fact is that the digital banking is all about data and payments. You check any digital bank website. In fact, Monetary Authority of Singapore, once they went ahead for the license, they were not also particular what kind of model they are looking to. But that we will speak with MAS on a separate note. Now just listen, understand this carefully with a free mind. Data, and this is not my number, but by the way, this is public number. The data is having 956 APIs while the payment is having around 519 API. Guys, do you know majority of these digital banks, those who are coming up, they take the similar kind of API, just do 5-10% here, there and make this as a prop API. Prop API means their API. Do you anywhere in this list, which is, I once again repeat for you, data, financial, analytics, messaging, payments, cloud, e-commerce, marketing, mobile and tools. Where is treasury? Where is treasury management systems? Where is execution management systems? Where is order management systems? Where is exchanges? You not get the list here. And that is the reason, because of this APIfication, I have a deep, I would say, negative thought about it. That is because of this APIfication, the original creativity of the globe is getting lost. End result, no one wanted to work, no one wanted to stay in the night, no one wanted to create and reinvent the wheel. It is available, just copy it, 5-10% here and there and go it. Now let me read for you, just in the context of an open banking. India is UPI, okay? UK saying UK Competition and Market Authority requires the 9 biggest banks to give access to the banking data and payment initiation to licensed startup. I don't think it is the right step, even though we are launching our bank in London. US, open banking here is driven mostly by the market forces, and the US Consumer Financial Protection Bureau encourages banks to share data, but it is not enforced. Tokyo, Japan, Amended Banking Regulation Act encouraged banks to open APIs by 2020 to enable digital payment ahead of Olympics. Digital payments. Where is the focus? Digital payments. Mexico. Fintech law that came into effect in March 2018 mandate open banking, and it's driven by the need to financial inclusion. And what is the definition of the financial inclusion? Worldwide. Debit card, credit card, account opening. That's it. This is the definition of financial inclusion. Nothing more than that. And let's come to Singapore. Monetary Authority of Singapore and Association of Banks, which is ABS, who practically do nothing, encourages banks to share API through conferences, events and publications. And what form of API you are submitting? Do we have a single API in Singapore pertaining to treasury management system, pertaining to the valuation of mark to market, and I can give you so many things? Boss, I'm telling you, you may take it otherwise, because all the good things which I say people don't understand at the time, they understand it later. Like in 2013 and roughly 16, when I said India is heading towards a big disaster, people laughed. But today you know everything is right upfront before you. When I said that Singapore economy is going to be fall in 2018, people said you are again wrong and you know everything is right upfront. I'm telling you, this APIfication is not good for digital banking. But having said that, like the Google CEO said that there should be a proper demarcation as far as like what he said. I'm just quoting his word. He said there should be a proper principle and standards and the global acceptability principle about artificial intelligence. I'm with him completely, even though I have an interpretation issue with him at multiple fronts. Similarly, I am saying when it comes to API, application programming interfaces, there should be a written standard that you cannot copy, or you need to have your originality after this API. And that originality is supposed to be more than 50% of the code what is being written already. I am telling you, if this way we continue towards the API, then sooner or later we are gone. Just like a last thing to tell you that most popular API which comes to Facebook, Google Maps, Twitter, YouTube, AccuWeather, LinkedIn, Weather Channel. And I let you know, I just want to tell you one thing, that if this scene would continue, it might possible that few startup will get few millions of dollars as a funding, but at the end they would always be in the loss. We know a lot of examples. Last but not the least, if we don't change this way, you can take API of somebody if you're willing to put in the public domain, but you should have your own originality as well. Like, last but not the least, I know many people don't understand these things, but probably in a year or so, you would get to know that all these APIs, that once the system collapses, and every system collapses, you know, there is no system in the globe which not collapsed. We know that. Like Madoff scandal, just like 2008 financial scandal, and even till now, almost every system collapsed. When this system collapsed, then the same media will start talking about APIfication is a wrong thing, and then you remember that in the beginning of 2020, somebody warned you about that. With this, we thank you very much, and there are humongous amount of videos on APIs and all these things would come. I just would like to let you know that our vision of digital banking and virtual banking is completely different than others' vision. And we as a bank never worried about the feedback. We do not worry what feedback people caring about me, because we know one thing, that what we are doing cannot be understood by more than 2% of the people. Because for me, the banking is not debit card, credit card and account opening. Now there is another scene which comes, bill payment and all this. For me, banking is completely different. Banking is the credit risk test, structured derivatives, CDS, Islamic banking and whatnot. With this, we thank you very much, and we keep giving you a lot of information about that. We are expecting 6,000 videos on our YouTube channel this year, and we are very hopeful that like this month we close around 450 videos, although 2 days are yet to go for this month. You're most welcome to visit our second YouTube channel, which is Treasury X, TREASURY Treasury X. Here we shoot short-term videos. Stay tuned. This is Rahul Magan, and you know my mobile number, which is +91 9899242978. You know our fixed income platform, www.fixedincome.global. Have a great time.